Hey guys, and welcome to episode 4 of Moving Picture Massacre. I am Tom, and I am joined with Matt and Ricky as always. And the cool movie that we're going to talk about today is a biker movie with some zombies, kind of, sort of. But I'm going to let Matt talk about this movie, let you know what it is, and a little bit about it.
Oh yeah, so it is a motorcycle movie, and it oddly enough is a zombie movie too. You are correct. Upon watching it though, it doesn't seem that way. So just keep this in mind if you guys decide to go back and check this out. But it is called Psychomania. This was a pickup for me just based on the slipcover alone. So I stumbled on this. I've never heard anything about it. It's available on Shutter, and if you're cheap like most of us, it's also free on YouTube as well. So you got about an hour, 30 minutes, and 17 seconds worth or of time that you can waste watching this movie. But it is a motorcycle movie where I guess they're like a cult, and what's happening in this movie is someone finds out that they can come back from the dead. And I'm not going to tell you exactly how right now, but one by one these bikers start just killing themselves in really kind of awesome motorcycle ways. Like if I was going to crash a motorcycle and go out a few of these ways, that's exactly how I'd want to do it. But it is a very it's a 70s movie if I'm not mistaken, and you get kind of the 70s typical horror movie soundtrack with this, and just the effects and everything with it as well. But I guess let's go ahead and let's start talking about this movie. Some of the things, let's talk about what we liked first, because I know that's probably going to go by a lot faster. So I'll throw it over to Ricky.
Uh, Things that I liked. I mean, there's really only one thing that I actually liked. The noose prank when one of the one of his little sidekicks, the female, when she comes back and she's hanging from the tree to scare the other friend. That was pretty funny. But other than that, there wasn't really much that I did enjoy. Tom, anything you like?
You know, there was things I wanted to like, I really wanted to like, and I just didn't quite get there. I've heard the name of this movie and I've seen the design many, many times. Like you said, Matt, the slipcase is what drew you in, and it 100% would do the exact same thing to me. Their helmets are that design. They have the little eyes with kind of the little antenna on their helmet. It kind of looks like a sticker or so on their visor. And that was honestly probably the coolest part of it to me, is just their cool aesthetic and their cool look as this biker gang called the Living Dead, right? That was the name of them. There were little small things that were all right. Some of the witchcrafty stuff that kind of happened later, but a lot of it was extremely, extremely cheesy. And again, that perfect way for them to come back to life is so bad.
Yeah, I agree with that. Some of the things I liked about, I actually liked some of the motorcycle scenes, the riding. I think the cinematography looked fine in it. It wasn't the greatest thing ever, but at the same time, it's like, okay, that was kind of cool. Some of the shots they did, like I also really like the helmets that they were wearing, the jackets and everything. I think that looked cool, but specifically the helmets. And then, yeah, like he was saying, that's what it is right there. It's almost like a motorcycle helmet that they put 3D goggles over for like old 3D movies. And that's what really caught my eye. I was like, I kind of want this. And Psychomania is kind of a badass title. And unfortunately, the movie is not really that badass. And just there's going to be a lot of things that I know all of us are not going to like about this movie. So I guess I can start with a couple things, and then we can just go around and just really tear into this if we want to. But one of the things I didn't necessarily like was some of the songs in this. To start off, there is a funeral scene, and there is an acoustic guitar player, and he plays the weirdest but longest song probably in the whole movie. And if you watch this, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And it was overplayed for the amount of time that it should have been, and it bothered me a lot. And I don't think it fit the scene. I can't think of any songs off the top of my head that would really compare to it. I don't know. For some reason, I'm thinking of the Carpenters. For some reason, it would be like adding the Carpenters into a funeral scene in a horror movie, and it just didn't fit well to me. And we get that a lot, I think, throughout this movie. There's a lot of stuff that could have been done well, but it didn't fit the movie, so it was just executed poorly. Another thing that I know Tom might talk about is how they come back from the dead. And then I'll let him go, further into detail with that. But it's you really got to want to do it, is what it boils down to. And at the end of the day, that was kind of stupid, if you ask me. And I'll let you go ahead and take it over, Tom, from there.
Well, as you said, the way to come back from the dead is just to want to. All you have to do is want to bad enough to come back,
You have to believe you're going to come back. Believe enough so that you really want to die. That's all there is to it.
You even have one of the characters, one of the bikers, commits suicide just like all the other ones and doesn't come back. And there's like, oh, where's, Jimmy or whatever. I don't remember his name. We watched this movie like 3 weeks ago and forgot. And he just looks at his girlfriend and he goes, he didn't want it enough. It's like, what? You just didn't want to live enough to kill yourself first and then think you're going to come back? I don't know. There was just so many like black magic-y, witchcrafty things that could happen that, there was some great Toad action throughout the movie. Randomly, in the very beginning, the main guy, his name is Tom, actually. He is sitting in a graveyard with his girlfriend, and they're making out, and all of a sudden he stops and goes, oh, and jumps on a toad, and literally like picks up a toad, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, don't worry about it, and just like puts a toad in his leather jacket. And then nothing. They just go on with what they're doing, and I was like, are you kidding? But then it kind of leads into that the fact that his mom and his mom's butler like worship toads, and they do this weird toad magic nonsense that brings people back to life, and tons of other stuff. Because they have, when you first see his mother, Tom walks into the house and they're having a little seance, and she's with a family of some sort and speaking for a child of the family, I believe. So, she's kind of weird and she's got, toad problems. But so that the back to life thing is super dumb, super dumb. Going back to that graveyard scene when Tom first dies and they're burying Tom because he's dead, and they bury him with his motorcycle, You would think they just maybe lay it down and lay him on top, and no, that is not how it is done at all. He is in like the stiffest rigor mortis I've ever seen in my life, because he is sitting on his motorcycle straight up and down, no slouch, just like this, just looking forward in a hole. I don't know if the hole is thin enough to hold him up so he doesn't fall side to side. I really don't understand it. It makes no sense and it looks super dumb. But Ricky, what else do you want to bring up about this gem?
Just to add to that grave, his rigor mortis, just to add to that, the grave was so shallow. It was like to mid shoulder. His entire like neck and head were sticking out of the top of it. But immediately after the makeout session, frog in the jacket scene, whenever he does go into the house and his mom's having the seance thing, after she finishes the seance, whenever he just starts dancing with her, like it'd be fine if it lasted like 5 seconds, but they went on for like 3 minutes and there was no music playing at all. They're just kind of dancing in silence. That was kind of weird. Didn't care for that at all. And the whole thing with the father's room that has been boarded up for 18 years, the room where his father supposedly died and all this stuff, it's like that's brought up for a pretty big scene at the beginning, and then it's just never touched on again. Like, they never explain anything with that room. It's just like, hey, here's this one scene, and that's all we're going to talk about. I have no idea what was going on in that room. I don't know the relevance to the story, nothing. That was just, I have no fucking clue what that was. But yeah, there was plenty more I didn't like, but I'm going to stop ranting and pass it on to Matt and let him talk about some things that he didn't like, just so I don't steal the entire 20-minute video here.
All right. Yeah. I mean, I started with a couple things, but there is a lot more I do want to add that I didn't necessarily like. And then I kind of got something else we can talk about with this movie. It might add to the conversation a little bit, but like Tom and I were talking about to start with the coming back from the dead thing, the guy who doesn't make it, that doesn't find his way back and doesn't want it bad enough. That just, I think that's poor writing, and I don't like that. But at the same time, it makes me laugh now, because this man was so sure that he wanted to like have immortality that he was willing to ride his motorcycle through a semi and like crash through the other side, die, and then after he's dead, just like, nah, I'm here. I'm done with this halfway through. So that's kind of bothersome. Some of the action scenes were, I think, poorly plotted out too. I know there's a semi scene where the lady is like getting ready to try and crash this semi, and she pulls out this like knife that's about that big, and she stabs the tire when she's on the motorcycle. And did it explode?
Yeah.
I feel like it rolled, and then the semi blew up and it was, that was pretty cheesy. And then Tom talked about the grave where they bury him, and obviously it was because he was going to make a comeback, and he was going to shoot 6 feet out of this grave on his motorcycle at one point, which was pretty bad too, and pretty funny at the same time, which leads me to the next thing I do want to talk about a little bit, and I don't think we have with any of these movies, but what are some moments at this that just made you laugh out loud? And I'm going to toss it back to Ricky to start.
Something that made me laugh out loud. I think probably the only moment that I actually got a pretty good audible chuckle is when they're being complete and total dickheads and just riding through the entire town, just terrorizing people. And the guy that's on the ladder, I still to this day have no idea what he was doing. He's just standing on a ladder. There's nothing near him that he's working on. He's got some boxes around his feet, but he's just got a ladder like in the middle of nowhere. I don't understand what he was doing, but when they knocked him off, I got a little bit of a chuckle out of that. But other than that, I mean, well, maybe another chuckle whenever they're in whenever the coroner walks back into the morgue and the guy's just kind of like laying there all sensually and knocks on the glass. that gave me a pretty good little chuckle. Tom, anything give you a good laugh?
I have to say that terribly long graveyard song started to make me laugh after a while because I just didn't think it was going to end. It got to a point where I felt like it told a whole story about this main character, Tom. And then I was like, all right. And it started like fading to a different area. And then it was like, nope, I have another verse and a chorus still. And it just kept going. And it made me like, it was annoying enough to where you're just like, are you serious? Like, this is just happening. Besides that, the wall scene, there's a section where Tom and his girlfriend, he thinks that she killed herself and she came back from the dead. And he's like, she looks at him and she goes, what do you want to do today? And he's like, I've always wanted to drive through a brick wall. And so they go do that. They're driving to his mom's house. There's a little archway that you drive through and there's bricks on either side. They're going full force. He drives through the brick wall, and she drives around right through the little gap in the middle. And he pulls up next to her, and he looks at her, and he goes, you didn't drive through the wall. And just that stupid line, I was like, this is bad. The funny thing about that, I read afterwards that, I don't know if I'm stealing this from Matt, but afterwards that I read up on the fact that they had to do that scene more than once because the first time the stunt driver tried to drive through the wall, he got caught on something and fell off the bike, and the bike kept going. I wish that would have stayed, or you could have seen that in a special feature or something, because that would have been hilarious. But Matt, what made you laugh out loud?
The wall scene, first off, like I'm going to run into this brick wall, and yet the motorcycle and him both come out the other side unscathed. Like when I think of I want to test my immortality, I think of like jumping off of giant things and splattering on the ground and still finding a way to get up. But nothing changed on him.
Yeah.
It was nothing at all. So, I mean, theoretically, he could have drove through that brick wall while he was still alive and been fine. Another thing that made me laugh was when they were in the like the corner mart on the motorcycles and they were just wreaking havoc. That lady who sees that stroller and she just gets that like hungry animal look on her face, and then she just takes off at it as fast as she can, hits it, which I don't even remember if it knocks the stroller over. I think it just spins it around or like barely bumps it over, and then she like crashes right into the deli counter. That kind of made me laugh too, and it was more the fact that someone just seen a baby stroller and was like, "That's what I want to run over." I thought I was like, "That's really awkward that they would put something like that in this movie." And I just don't see many people who would ever really do that. So it was like, wow, like I can't believe they did it. It was executed pretty poorly. Um, I can't really think of too many other things other than like the semi crash or the motorcycle jump from the grave, and like you mentioned, the song. The song was awkwardly funny. But yeah, I think really that sums up most of this movie. And like I know we say that this movie's trash, and it really is, but I hope that this is like something that someone's listening to and they're like, damn, that is my kind of trash, and I want to go watch that now, because that's kind of what I guess we look for as well. So yeah, I'm hoping that we're influencing people to like go out and check out these like poor quality movies. If you are, definitely leave some comments below about that, because I would definitely be interested to see what people think of the same things that we're watching now. But yeah, if does anyone else have anything to add?
Have we tried to rate these? I can't remember in the last couple episodes, but did we give the movies a rating at all?
No.
You guys want to do that?
Yeah.
Just like, let's say, super simple, and do five stars. You know, what would you give this movie, Ricky, out of 5 stars?
Oh man, I'd probably give it 1. And well, they really tried to follow like Toby Hooper and John Carpenter's method, where the whole less is more thing, where like the less you show, the more effect it's gonna have. They completely failed, because like while these bikers are killing themselves in order to come back, they chose some pretty brutal ways to go out. But the only blood you see in the entire movie is in Abby's nose when they're like doing the little like she's fake dead thing. That's the only blood in the entire movie. I mean, you get one guy that jumps out of a 3rd-story window right in front of a cop. One guy jumps out of a plane without a parachute. A guy jumps off a bridge. Like, it's some pretty brutal shit, but they don't show anything. And while Toby Hooper and John Carpenter succeeded beyond anyone's expectations, these guys did not. But and also it's a poorly named movie. They probably should have called it Frogs.
And there is a Frogs movie though.
That's very
There's
true.
too many frogs in this movie. But that's all I got. So Matt, you want to give it a little star rating?
Yeah, I'm a little bit higher than you. I'll give it a 2, and I can agree with a lot of stuff. And one thing that made me think when he was talking about it was the end of the movie. Once they like, in this curse or whatever these people have going on, this immortality, and basically the whole biker gang turns to dust, but they don't blow away or anything. It's almost like they turn into a pile of dirt that's shaped like a Hershey's Kiss. If you go back and watch it, it looks like that. And it's kind of funny to see it because it's over this like little time lapse, I guess, and then it basically just fades into dirt. But yeah, I would say, with the laugh factor and what things they did right, I give it maybe a 2 out of 5. I'll give it a 2 out of 5. Definitely a 2 out of 5.
I have one more thing to add. Matt, I don't know how we forgot this, because we have said it multiple times via text, whatever. But how did we forget when we were talking about the funny scenes when he walks into the bar Hey, do you have a phone here? Yeah, we also sell beer.
Yeah. That was the best line of the movie.
It really was. And we've said that. All, the three of us have all said that. And we didn't even mention it today.
Yeah, that part made me laugh. Like immediately when I heard it, I was like, "Oh wow, that was actually not a bad line." It made me chuckle a little bit, and I wish there was a T-shirt that said that on it. Do you have a phone? Yeah, we also serve beer.
Just have the name of the bar at the top, and then that says that on the back.
Yeah.
Oh man, and that scene was kind of strange too, because some random girl was just kind of infatuated with Tom, and so she gave him beer money, she gave him money for the phone, and then she tried to go outside with him and take him somewhere. She wanted him to take her somewhere, and he was just like, "Nah, I have no time for you. I got things to do." And I was kind of hoping he would like end up doing something crazy and like killing her, or and it just he just pushed her and left, if I'm not mistaken. But I would give this movie I was going to give it a 2.5, but I'm not going to. I'm going to give it a 2, and the only reason I'm going to take that half away is I hated the mom's house. There were so many parts of that house that were supposed to look nice and fancy and this and that, and there was like this gold glitter shit everywhere. Like it was a beautiful fireplace with gold glitter lining the fireplace, or gold glitter stairs, and it looked like someone like was doing dinner theater, and that's how they decided to decorate the house. It was just god awful looking. So I would give it a 2 overall.
Perfect.
You have anything else to say about this, Matt, before we close out this episode?
Go watch it. So don't just take our word for it. Definitely investigate and find out if you like this movie or not. I've actually seen people this past month post it on Instagram, and they seem to enjoy it. I guess we really didn't, but there are people out there who enjoy this movie. So you might be one of those people, but more than likely, I would say you're going to fit in with us and our crowd and probably not necessarily like this movie. But yeah, it would be interesting to see opinions, and there is a comment section below. So yeah, let us know after you watch this movie what you think about it. I'm going to probably guess that it's going to be a waste of your time, but I'm glad you wasted your time doing it. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about this movie. Ricky, you got anything to add?
Just one piece of advice: if you do decide to go watch this on your own, whenever Tom does go into his father's death room thing, just go ahead and mute that scene, because when he starts interacting with the mirror, it's the equivalent of what I imagine a dog hears when you blow a dog whistle. It's wretched. I almost turned the movie off because I didn't want to listen to that anymore. But yeah, definitely recommend muting that scene. But yeah, definitely check it out. I mean, everybody's got different opinions on different movies. There are some movies that I absolutely despise that other people love, and vice versa. So check it out on your own, see if you like it. Maybe it's something that you're into. It's just not. I'm not. Tom, final thoughts for you before you close this out?
That's perfect. I should have mentioned that earlier. That scene, I had to sit there with my remote and turn it down and then turn it back up and turn it down and turn it back up. I don't know what they were going with that loud noise. It didn't relate to anything that was happening, He was looking in a mirror and the mirror was changing, but it was like this screechingly loud, just nonsense. But yeah, no, that is about it. The movie's got some fun little things to it. It may be more entertaining to watch with a crowd. Who knows? Everyone tends to like movies more when they watch them with a crowd. Especially bad movies, because everyone can riff off of what you're watching. Everyone's going to laugh together and things like that. So go out and watch it with some friends. I think it's on Amazon for free, as well as Shudder, as well as YouTube, as we said. So go check it out. Let us know what you think. I'm dying to hear, because I'm sure people have things to say. We obviously did. We just spent 25 minutes talking about it. So thank you guys very much We already have a movie picked out for our next review. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but go and check our Instagram because I'm sure I'll post about it or post hints about it pretty soon. If you like watching this and you want to just listen to it instead, you can catch the podcast version of the show out on Spotify and pretty much anywhere else you listen to podcasts. So go ahead and do that. If this is your first time here, thank you very much for stopping by. If you like the video, hit the like button, I've been told is what you're supposed to say, and that other subscribe thing as well. They're probably like right down here in this area of the screen at this point in time. So we appreciate you guys, and we'll see you again very soon. Thanks so much.